Hey everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm a fingerstyle guitar player and retro video game nerd. At the time of this video, Black Friday is upon us, and so are the sales. And we've got a ton of great deals this Black Friday from Nyxi. If you're watching this video in the future, fear not, because Nyxi pretty much always has some kind of sale going on. They're really good about that. So if you're still looking for a deal and Black Friday and maybe even Christmas has passed us, I would encourage you to still check out that website so you can find some good deals on all this cool stuff that's on the table. Pretty much everything on this table already has its own dedicated review video on my channel. So if you see something in particular that you're really eyeing, I would encourage you to check the link in the description to check out that specific video for that specific product. But a lot has happened since some of these controllers have come out in the video game world. Mainly the Nintendo Switch 2 was finally released. So we've got this controller right here, which is the Hyperion Pro. It's a Nintendo Switch controller. Now you might be asking yourself, you know, that's a cool looking controller. However, Nintendo Switch 1 controllers aren't exactly compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. So how am I going to deal with that? Are they going to release a new line of controllers specifically for the Switch 2? They might, but for right now, Nyxi is offering an attachment for your Nintendo Switch 2 that will allow you to connect your Switch 1 controllers to that device, and they're running a special right now on their website where I think the device itself is like 20 bucks. But if you spend $39.99 or more on their website, you get that attachment for free. And I think that's a really good deal, actually. If you're into the Nintendo Switch 2 and you've got some Switch 1 controllers hanging around, that's a really good deal, actually. So you should probably consider taking advantage of that, especially if you've got a Nintendo Switch 2. First on the list today that I'd like to talk about is the Nyxi Striker keyboard. This is a GameCube themed mechanical keyboard, which is kind of cool, actually. Nyxi really goes all in with the GameCube. I think it's their favorite retro console, to say the least, because they've got a lot of GameCube themed accessories, both controllers and now this keyboard, for either your PC or a lot of different things. So let's talk about this keyboard really quickly. So this is the Nyxi Striker Retro Mechanical Keyboard. This is compatible with Windows 7 or above, Mac OS, and even iOS systems. You've got three means of connectivity. You can do a wired connection via USB-C to USB. You've got a Bluetooth option as well as a wireless 2.4 gigahertz option that's got its own dongle. The battery capacity is 4,000 milliamps, and the interface, of course, is USB Type-C. So we've got a GameCube-inspired color palette. We've got some really nice RGB hybrid underglow featuring 22 RGB lighting modes for different display effects. We've also got some hot swappable full-key red switches as well as some blues and browns. All that means is that you can swap these out depending on your preference of how it sounds. Some of these are louder than others. This keyboard is actually fully programmable and configurable with its own app on your PC. You can personalize key functions, lighting effects, and macros with unique bindings for enhanced productivity and your gaming experience. And you might have noticed this little yellow thing on the top of the keyboard. This is a really cool dot matrix screen that you can customize with your own pixel patterns and animations. Overall, this is a 97 key layout. In addition to having three possible ways of connecting this keyboard, you also have a really cool green volume slider. I will say that this keyboard is actually pretty nice. I didn't expect it to be this nice because it seems like everybody has their own keyboard these days, but I honestly didn't expect this one to come from Nyxi. They are the controller guys, so it really kind of blew me away to see that they have their own retro-styled keyboard. And the dot matrix screen is just, it's funny, man. It's cool to have something like that. Honestly, when you get into this program, there's a lot of customization, and that's just another thing that you can customize if you want. But this is a wireless keyboard. You can use this, I mean, I could, if I had it plugged in, I could use it right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. There's a switch right there on the left side of this little yellow thing, so I don't know if you can catch that from that far away or not, but I've got my initials right there. It's really difficult to do a B in a dot matrix screen, by the way. You can set macros and you can set certain keys to do certain functions as well as your lighting effects. There's a ton of different lighting effects that you'll see in this footage right now. What I really like about it is that there's not only a program that you can use the lighting effects to, but there's also a little bit of a community behind it. Some people have made an account with this program and they'll go in and create their own custom effects and stuff, and you can go into this program and download it and have it be on your actual keyboard. There's a really cool GameCube themed lighting effect that I really do like. So how is the functionality of this guy? We know that it's pretty, and it's really nice and retro, and we do like that. I love the fact that there are multiple ways to connect this keyboard to your devices. You could just use the standard USB-C to USB cable, which I admit is actually really cool. It's like this retro, I don't know, it reminds me of like an old school Les Paul guitar setup, the way that the cable is kind of wrapped around. They didn't have to do that. They could have just given us like a regular cable, but I'm really, really enjoying that cable. It's really nice. And the fact that it wraps around so much gives you more room to where you don't have to have a long cable going across your desk. You can just have it kind of bundled up there. I guess you could stretch it out further if you needed to, but I really, really do enjoy that part of the keyboard. We also have Bluetooth, which I paired up with my PC that has a Bluetooth thing built into it. So that was really great. Connecting it, no issues whatsoever. But if you want to go 2.4 gigahertz, they include a little dongle inside of the keyboard itself right there. And that's a really nice touch because sometimes you'll find it like underneath the keyboard. This is right here on the top. It just goes in and out, and it's always there when you need it. So it's going to be really difficult for you to lose that for sure. But so far, I've really enjoyed the keyboard. Now, the sounds. Some keyboards are really clicky-clacky and some are really creamy. This is most certainly a creamy sounding keyboard. Now, we've got some extra keys so you can experiment with different sounds, but you're not going to be able to do the entire thing that way unless you order some keys of your own. But I do enjoy the overall sound of this. It's very creamy. It's not something that I'm used to. My keyboard that I've used before this has been extremely opposite. It's very clicky-clacky. But I can definitely get used to this. The little green wheel right there is also a nice touch, this little spinny wheel, so you can go back and forth to adjust your volume if need be. The dot matrix screen is great. This is overall a really nice keyboard, and I was very surprised to see that Nyxi made one of these. But it makes sense because they're all into the GameCube theme, and they've got some GameCube controllers that you can use on your PC as well. I guess let's start with the Nyxi Warrior right here. This is one of my favorite controllers that Nyxi has ever made. And you can see I've got my GameCube sitting on the desk with the respective dongle that goes with the Nyxi Warrior. These are great quality controllers, and you can use this not only on your PC, but on your GameCube, which is a 2-in-1, and that's a lot of bang for your buck. Not only do you have a dongle, but it also has a USB-C port on the top for firmware updates. Nyxi has listened to its community, and they take feedback into account, and so there's been some firmware updates for some of their controllers. I really do enjoy this controller on the GameCube. I've used it on the PC a few times. This is not my preferred PC controller. I'll get to that here in a second, but I must say, I really, really do like the micro switchiness that's inside of this controller. The buttons are the GameCube layout, which is really nice. You've got the giant A button that's green, and then the little red B button, just like on a regular GameCube controller. It feels really nice in the hands, and I'm not going to go too much into this because I've already got a dedicated review video for it. But I've done some testing on the GameCube, and for the most part, it's a really, really nice GameCube controller as well. But what I love about it is that you can have this dongle hooked up right here for your GameCube, but you can also plug it into your PC and then play PC games with it too. So that's really, really nice. Another thing that I want to talk about just briefly is the Nyxi Hyperion Pro. Now this is primarily a Switch controller, but I believe you can pair it with other things, and it comes off just like that. You've got both sides that kind of hang out right there. Honestly, I love the controller for the Switch. It feels really good in the hands, and I've done a review video about this one too, so I won't go too in-depth, but one of my main things that I love about it is the fact that it just stands up just like that. Boom. You don't need a controller stand for it. You can just sit it up right there. It's got these little ridges on the bottom that allow it to stand up on its own, and that is just tickling me to death. I've always loved that about this controller, but it might not be a big deal to you. It's kind of a minor thing, but I really enjoy stuff like that. Now I want to talk about the Nyxi Master P1. This is by far my favorite PC controller that I own. I use it quite a bit, actually. We don't follow the GameCube theme anymore, unfortunately. This is just a black controller, but this is a really, really nice addition to anyone that's into playing PC games. And I think it would pair really nicely with this keyboard as well. What we've got going on here is just a standard Xbox layout. However, you've got some programmable back buttons back here, as well as these switches right there that turn your L2 and R2 style triggers into these clicky little micro switch buttons if you so desire, or if you pull that switch down, you got a full send trigger. And you can customize those on either side. So you can have this one go all the way and this one just be a button if you want to. L1 and R1 are just your standard bumpers, and those are great. So much like the Nyxi keyboard, you've got a 3-way switch on the back that will allow you to switch to 3 different modes. In this case, you've got the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which I highly recommend. One thing about Nyxi that I've always loved is the fact that they pair with their respective dongles like instantly. There's no fuss. There's no going over to the dongle and holding a button to try to pair it. That dongle and this controller are meant to be together, and they know that. So when they pair with each other, it's pretty much instantaneous. I've never had an issue pairing Nyxi controllers with their respective dongles ever. Also, these programmable back buttons, what I like about this is that right now they're not functioning, and that's because I've made it so. There's a switch on the back that will allow you to let those controllers actually function. But they've taken into account the fact that maybe some people don't want those. And the way that they sit in your hand is that it's right underneath your middle finger. So I'm pressing my middle finger with that right now. But what if I don't want those? What if I don't want the sensation of that happening? You can lock these to where you're pressing and nothing happens. It's a solid part of the controller at that point. I've always really liked that about Nyxi's, that they take a lot of really cool ideas and implement them in their own controllers. So if you're interested in a solid PC gaming controller, like I said, this is a Nintendo Switch controller as well, and it kind of mimics the Pro controller a little bit, but this is definitely my go-to for PC gaming for sure. So if anything on this table has interested you, you will most certainly want to be checking out the links in the description, because this is the best time of year at the time of this video to purchase Nyxi products. The Black Friday sale is by far their biggest sale of the year. You're going to be saving a lot of money that way. I appreciate you guys checking out those links. And I hope you'll stay tuned to my YouTube channel, because we've got another video coming up all about some Black Friday sales that will actually come out probably on Black Friday. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Tell me what you think about the Nyxi controllers and the keyboard that we've seen today. Does it seem like something for you? Big thank you to Nyxi for sending me this stuff for review. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you guys for watching and subscribing. Thanks so much. I'll catch you at the next video. Bye-bye.